The IMF has cut India's growth outlook steeply following the second COVID wave, and it now sees India's GDP growing by 9.5% in FY22, which is 300 basis points lower than its April forecast. But this is in line with what the RBI has projected for the fiscal. For FY23, IMF has accordingly upgraded India's growth forecast by 160 basis points to 8.5%. Now, the downgrade for FY22 follows the severe second COVID wave that India saw between March and May and the expected slow recovery in confidence from the setback that it suffered. Now, IMF sees the global economy growing by 6% for 2021, which is unchanged from its previous forecast, and by 4.9% in 2022, which is about 50 basis points higher than what it had said in April. Now, this improved outlook for the next year is largely on the back of the upgrade for advanced economies and most notably for United States. However, now IMF has warned that divergence in growth among countries is only widening from here, and that is driven by the differences in vaccine availability as well as policy support. For instance, if you look at IMF data, it shows that 13.2% of the world population has been fully vaccinated as of the 19th of July. Now, while almost 40% of the advanced economy population has been fully vaccinated, only 11% of the emerging market and developing economies population has been vaccinated, and only 1.2% of the low-income developing countries has been vaccinated so far. And this wide difference that you see is directly impacting the growth outcomes for all of these countries. Now, the divergence is again visible in the per capita income levels. IMF estimates that the pandemic has reduced the per capita income in advanced economies by 2.8% relative to pre-pandemic trends, compared with an annual per capita loss of 6.3% for the emerging market and developing economies, excluding China. Now, while more widespread vaccine access will improve the outlook, the risks, IMF says, are balanced or tilted to the downside. IMF estimates that the emergence of highly infectious virus variants could derail the recovery, and it could wipe out $4.5 trillion cumulatively from the global GDP by 2025. A quick word on the alternate outcomes as well. Now, while the baseline scenario assumes that local transmission of the virus will be brought to very low levels everywhere by the end of 2022, global growth could be hit by 75 to 80 basis points in 2021 and by 80 to 150 basis points in 2022 in a downside scenario.